Across the Wide and Lonesome Prairie, The Oregon Trail Diary of Hattie Campbell, pages 9 through 18, written by Kristiana Gregory, read by Christina Grief. February 18th, 1847, Thursday. Yesterday, Aunt June received another letter from her friend, Narcissa Whitman, who went to Oregon 10 years ago. Her husband is Dr. Marcus Whitman, and they have founded a mission near Fort Walla Walla to help the Cayuse Indians. Aunt June had us to tea. Becky, too. She let us girls pour and pass around the scones and butter so that she could read the letter aloud. This much I remember. There is tall timber, and soil so rich a farm can grow overnight, it seems. June, you'll see how fair is the climate. If I can cross the Rockies, any lady can. Aunt June folded the letter into her sleeve. She said Narcissa and Eliza Spaulding were the first white women to travel all the way to Oregon. There've been hundreds since. Hundreds. We could visit her, maybe even stay for a while, since Narcissa's been begging us to come for years. Aunt June is not at all sad to leave Boonville. She thinks everything is an adventure. And I'm writing this in tiny letters so no one can read over my shoulder. She confided to me that the way their brother Milton's coffin went sailing down the Missouri was splendid, the best amusement in months. Aunt June and I think alike. March 4th, 1847, Thursday. 2 weeks of packing and sewing and cooking and repacking. We leave aboard the riverboat Eliza May in just 10 days. 10 days! Pa sold our house and our chickens and our 3 horses and our cow to our neighbor for $65. This plus $800 is what we'll take to Oregon. Having free tickets is what finally gave Pa the courage to say we were going. Every evening we visit with friends or relations for supper and tearful goodbyes. Suddenly I realize how much I shall miss Becky. We have known each other since we were babies, and when we walk together down the lane, I get a terrible lump in my throat knowing we'll soon be parted. She is my very best friend ever. Pa is ready to get going, but Ma is gathering keepsakes from each friend and packets of seeds saved from their gardens. One whole trunk is filled with my sister's things. A favorite doll and dress each, baby knits and such, Ma's wedding dress, and my grandparents' Bible and wash basin. Pa said, "Are you sure you need all this?" Ma, tight-lipped and teary, said nothing. She just kept on folding quilts and tucking a china dish or bowl or picture frame between the folds. I am allowed a small satchel. There is space for a folded dress, leggings, my hairbrush, 2 petticoats, and this and that. My journal will fit in the side pocket with 3 pencils. Aunt June says I must record things daily, the good and the bad, because this will be the adventure of a lifetime. Hattie, whether you realize it or not, we will be part of history. March 15th, 1847, Monday, aboard the steamboat Eliza May. We are 15 miles west of Boonville. Finally, our first day out, we got stuck on a sandbar until the tide floated us off. I'm sitting on a bench on the top deck and can see all around for miles. There are trees everywhere and tiny houses along dirt roads. There is such a breeze up here that I've had to tie my bonnet tight under my chin. I am writing quick because I must get back to help Ma with Benny and Jack. If I lean over the rail, I can see them on the lower deck among our baggage. Pa and the other men are tightening ropes around the wagons, for they were taken apart before loading. Nearby, our wagon wheels are stacked like hot cakes. Already I'm lonesome for Becky. March 16th, Tuesday. The Eliza May is packed with travelers, some from clear down in Kentucky and Tennessee, who've been aboard for days and days. A lady in the cabin next to us was sick all night, but it turns out she was having a baby. It was born at sunrise, a tiny little girl they named Eliza May. I ain't never heard of a baby being named after a riverboat. The mother and father already have 5 young daughters, and they are all named after trees. I wonder if the family will fit in one wagon all the way to Oregon. I write this from my berth. An oil lamp gives light as Ma changes Benny for bed. Jack is tucked in with Pa, and even though Pa is snoring, Jake keeps asking questions about Indians and scalpings, buffalo, and other things he wants to see out west. He's as ready for our adventure as I am. There. I've just covered him up and whispered a prayer to him. He fell fast asleep before I finished. Ma is so tired. March 25th, Thursday, Independence, Missouri. Pa said there must be 500 folks living here, and that don't count all the immigrants like us roaming the streets, buying last-minute supplies, repairing wagons, and just plain getting ready. There are blacksmiths, harness makers, and wheelwrights busy this morning and night. After we docked, it took one full day and evening for men to unload the Eliza May. First thing Pa and Uncle Tim did was put the wheels back on our wagons, load our trunks, furniture, and tools, then find a boy who could help us buy some mules. I'm writing this on my lap by the campfires as I keep an eye on Ma's roasting chicken. It is on a low spit over the coals we're sharing with another family. Behind me are the houses and barns and stores and streets of Independence. But in front of me it's an open prairie, miles and miles of grass spread out like Ma's old yellow quilt. There are dozens of families with tents and wagons also camped here. Looking westward. Pa says we're waiting for the grass to green up. When there's green grass, then we'll be able to feed the horses and other animals pulling us west. Pa, he's patient, but I ain't. The stench from there being no outhouses is getting worse every day. Ugh, I wish we could just get on with things. March 30th, Tuesday. Rain. Roads are so muddy most of the immigrants are staying around their campfires. We have made friends with 3 families who are also bound for Oregon. We hung tarps between the wagon tops and now have a dry space in between where Ma and the other ladies sit with babies and needlework. It is no fun, just sitting. How I wish Becky was here so we could roam together. There are many boys my age and older. They have made a sport of shoving each other into puddles and wrestling in the mud. 4 boys jumped on the back of a poor old milk cow, tried to ride her through camp. When her calf came bawling after her, there was near stampede. I don't like the way these boys yell and wave their rifles around. One of them accidentally shot a 9-year-old in the neck. He died right quick, right where he fell. His family is so broken-hearted that they've packed up and headed home to St. Louis. I'm sad for them. Now I keep a closer eye on Jack and Ben. If they got shot, I think I'd take a whip and make those rough boys sorry they was ever born. Aunt June made the acquaintance of a family going to San Francisco. They have twins, a boy and a girl, about 6 years old. It seems we'll all start together somewhere in the Cheyenne country when the trail splits. Some of us will head north and others south to California. April 5th, Monday. Bad news swept through camp this morning like a fever. News brung by a mountain man back from the west. Ma looked so upset I feared she was ill. Maybe we should go home back to Boonville, she said to Pa. There's just too much danger. I cannot lose another one of my children, Charles. Even the men are talking amongst themselves, and this is what I heard. An immigrant train that left Independence last spring got trapped in a blizzard high in the Sierra Nevada mountains near California. Some people froze or starved to death, 40-some people. To stay alive, folks ate their livestock, their pets, and then this is the worst part. They ate parts of their dead friends. These were the Reed and Donner families, and some were rescued this February. A whole winter in the mountains without food or shelter or warm clothes? Huh, how they must have suffered. Word is they took the Hastings cutoff, but something went wrong somehow. Ma is worried because the written guide we are following is also Hastings. What if his maps are wrong for us too? She's by the fire pleading with Pa for him to turn back. But I must be brave for Benny and Jake, and I must be brave for Ma. But what if something happens to us and we can't get over the mountains in time? April 6th, Tuesday. Pa went into town to trade on mules for oxen. A mountain man in furs named Tall Joe told us the grain that the mules eat is expensive and takes up room in the wagons. Oxen's are better because they eat grass along the trail and are so slow Indians won't steal them. Tall Joe said, "Whatever you folks do, hurry along as fast as you can. And don't take shortcuts like them Donners did." People crowd around asking advice. What about Indians? Or what about crossing the desert? On Tall Joe's belt, he has what looks like 2 short brushes hanging with a string of beads. Ma was admiring that beadwork and reached out to touch him when Tall Joe said proudly, "Them is scalps, ma'am, Pawnee." Ma's hand flew to her throat before she could gather herself. The little twins and my brother Jake leaned forward for a better look. Jake said, just as calm as if he was asking for lunch, "Did the Injuns yell when you scalped 'em, mister?" "Nah, sonny, just when I shot 'em." Then Tall Joe lay down by his fire with 3 of his friends. They fell asleep so quick they looked like old rugs rolled up. I stared at the scalps. Indians?